Okay, after a couple of false starts here, I'm ready to go again. This is the Midnight Skeptic in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, this is the 19th of May, and it's Thursday, and this will be tonight. This will be up on YouTube, and this will be broadcast on KPCA LP 103.3 FM Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 22nd, and at 9 p.m., the usual time, and on the East Coast at midnight on the East Coast of the U.S. Okay. The views of the Midnight Skeptic, as I always say, even though they're the perfectly right views to have about everything, are not necessarily the views of Petaluma Community Access and its affiliated television stations and this station, KPCA-LP 103.3 FM. And please, if you disagree with me, or especially if you want to praise me to the high heavens, send me a email at themidnightskeptic@gmail.com. All one word, all lowercase letters. I'll get it, and then hopefully I'll be able to deal with all the hate mail and death threats that I anticipate that I will be getting after this show. Okay, shout outs. My international people, 2 in the UK, 2 in Ireland, 2 in Germany, 1 at least in the Czech Republic, and please do what you can over there in the Czech Republic to take care of the Ukrainian refugees. They need our help. And congratulations to Sweden and Finland for getting off their asses and joining NATO. Really, they put in their formal requests yesterday, Wednesday. Okay. And okay, that's my international people. They're seeing me on Spotify via anchor.fm. Okay, the local people around here in Petaluma, Nariman, and then Keith K listens in every now and then, and Kevin and Lori up in Katati. And it was good seeing you last Saturday at Dave and Rosie's up in Sacramento. Tim Conrad, and like I say, Sacramento, Dave and Rosie Tekach, get better, you two. Really, please get better. And then Mickey Huff, who is the godfather of Project Censored. He has his show. It was yesterday here on KPCA-LP from 1 to 2. And it'll be repeated tomorrow, Friday, at KPFA over in Berkeley. And he's always worth taking a listen to. Okay, the Sonora Gang, Bob and Sandy Fisher, Brad and Martha, and Martha's a nurse up there. Please take care of yourself, Martha. And Dara Larson, Judy May, Leonidas Maciel, and then down in Mexico City, Rosie Negrete Lopez, and Bob and Robert and Colleen Finnegan, Fig as I call him, as everybody calls him. Okay. Arkansas, Shannon Reed, Arizona, my brother Brandon and his wife Mina and their daughter Andrea, who's a nurse also, and my niece. Take care of yourself, Andrea, and take care of your husband Tim and the three little terrorists. And then over to Florida, we've got Amelia Beamer and Nelson and Alice Lydell in the Sarasota area. Amelia's in the Edgewater area, and then going up the coast to the Raleigh-Durham area, Hera Doctor and Vicky, his wife. And I had a really, really nice long conversation with Hera Doctor. And we discussed cabbages and kings and all sorts of things. And then last up to Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger. And I forgot to mention, I'm having a brain freeze, backwards to Arizona, Karina Hilliard, the animal control officer. Okay. GOP hypocrisy. Okay. It's just, I don't even think that I need to mention GOP and hypocrisy. It's kind of like they're synonymous. So it just goes without saying that one is the other. Okay, GOP hypocrisy from DeSantis land. Governor DeSantis has been on a spending spree. Well, that's good for the people of Florida. For months. He's been taking credit for handing out money to projects and roads and capital improvement, but it's federal stimulus money that he is handing out. And it's mostly happening in rural Florida up near the Panhandle. And, of course, the people up there are Fox News worshipers and DeSantis worshipers. So he can say anything and they'll just believe him, most of them. There are some educated people up in that area of Florida. And the monies are going to job growth, climate resiliency, because they're being plagued by rising sea levels in Florida, road projects, etc. All the while, not just taking the federal money and spending it, but on the other hand, bashing President Biden and the government, the federal government, for big government spending. We don't want that, as he hands out money from the federal government. Oh, boy. That's the way the Republicans are. Okay. New topic. Progressives, and this is totally my opinion, but I think it's kind of true. Progressives, when something comes up that they view as an attack, usually it's a social issue of some sort. Lately, it's been the abortion thing. Progressives get out with their signs and march and chant and sing songs and speechify. Personally, I think a lot of that is a waste of time. Okay, and I've never been one to, get out and protest. I never protested, and I'm not saying that I am right about this. This is my opinion, but following some guy with a bullhorn, saying, "What do we want? Blah, blah, blah. When do we want it? Now." I don't know. That just doesn't cut it with me. That's people who do that think that they are doing something, and they are, but that's not the way to change things. Right-wingers, MAGA heads, the conservatives, the evil Republicans just laugh at each other. Look at those snowflake liberals, Uh, because they know that nothing's going to really happen. Uh, all of the issues that liberal progressives are pushing for, environmental things, social justice things, um, wage increases, increasing the minimum wage to make it a living wage, all of those things, Republicans know that they can block all of these things. And women's rights, they know that over the regime of the orange sociopathic bloat bag, that they've been able to get in enough right-wing judges that all of these issues can be blocked. And I've said this before, the election's coming up in November of this year. That's about 6 months away. We must vote out all Republicans. Voting is really doing something, and not just voting, but getting out and stumping for the Democratic candidates, and yes, contributing a little bit of money. I myself broke down and sent in a $10 contribution to John Fetterman. He's running for Senate back in Pennsylvania, and I don't usually contribute money because you do it to one and then you're just flooded with politicians begging for donations, or, they say chip in. Yeah, I guess that sounds better than donate. I don't know. Sip time. But the Democratic Party needs guys like John Fetterman to be the face of their party. He's this huge hulking guy that is really a man of the people. He was the mayor of a industrial town in western Pennsylvania for a while. I don't want to go into his whole biography here, but he can relate to people in the same way that some of the dirtbag Republicans who fake like they're persons of the people do, and convince them otherwise. I mean, I've heard people interviewed at these Trump rallies, and a few of them have even said about Trump, he's one of us. Oh, God. I've said before that Republicans are good at messaging, and Trump is he is disgusted by the people that actually vote for him. Believe me, none of those people that attend his rallies would be allowed into Mar-a-Lago or any of his other golf clubs. Okay. Is that enough of a riff? I guess it is. Okay. All right. So I was blathering about my opinion about what works and what doesn't work. Okay. Progressives waste time and effort carrying signs and protesting. Hard right GOP organizes and puts up candidates that agree to steal elections. Now, all of these state secretaries of state candidates that Republicans are putting up now are agreed that the 2020 election was stolen. That's one of the things that you have to agree to, is the big lie. Okay, and if we let them get elected, I really fear for our democracy here. Okay, progressives call out hard right GOP for its hypocrisy. They are. They know they are. All they want is power, and whatever they have to do to get it, they will. Okay, but the hard right has no shame. It doesn't do any good to call them out for their hypocrisy. They don't care. Okay, like the recent Supreme Court of the U.S. Appointees, lying is just a means to an end. And the three latest appointees, I like beer crybaby and that that Catholic lady. Oh, geez, these brain freezes. I hate them. But she was kicking out kids right and left and lied to the face of the Senate Investigation Committee, or it's not an investigation committee. It was the committee that approves appointees. Okay. Um, as I was saying, lying is just a means to an end. Power, and that's what they want. Okay. U.S. New topic. U.S. government money wasting. A House of Representatives panel is set to hold an open congressional public hearing on, are you ready for this? UFOs. Oh, man, you heard right. They're going to waste their time on something they could have just asked me about. There are no aliens that have ever visited Earth, and there are no space aliens from some distant civilization or another dimension that are visiting us. They're not. They're not. And I'm comfortable not knowing what every speck of light is up in the sky. There's plenty of things that we haven't figured out what they really are yet. That's okay. One of the guys on this House committee said that, well, we have to investigate these things because they might be a new type of craft that poses a danger to us from Russia or China. Forget Russia. They're trying to fight a war with World War II equipment and obsolete equipment from the Soviet Union. The Russian Air Force can't even control the skies over Ukraine. They're just, their communications gear. The reason they've lost so many generals, at last count, it's about 14 of them. Generals never get killed out on the front lines of any war, but they've lost 14 of them. And you know why? Because their communications in the Russian army is so poor that these generals are using their own cell phones to call sub-commanders of various units. And, well, the Ukrainians can home in on those signals and direct their bombing and artillery barrages to those spots. That's how the Russians are getting killed. Russian technology is a joke. Even I don't know why we're so afraid of them. Well, we are afraid of them because they've got nukes. And I personally have some doubts about whether their rockets that are supposed to deliver these nukes would really work as they're supposed to work. Russia has used a few, emphasis on few, hypersonic missiles in Ukraine. Okay. They just deliver an explosive package faster, and which makes them harder to detect. Russian technology is crap. Okay, so none of these lights in the sky are going to be Russian, I don't know, flying objects. Okay, China is another issue, and I honestly don't think that the Chinese have developed a flying machine of some sort that would be able to do all the things that these UFOs are reportedly capable of doing. And I don't doubt that the pilots, the Navy pilots and the Air Force pilots who have made note of these UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. That's the new word for UFOs. But I, I don't doubt that they've seen what they've seen. And there are a handful of them that have remained unexplained. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. In this congressional investigation into UFOs is just feeding the nuts out there that there's a sizable group of people out there that equate UFOs with aliens. Aliens! They're coming. Oh, jeez. It's just going to feed their paranoia. Okay. I'm not holding my breath, or I may not even read the report when they get through with this House Intelligence Subcommittee. Okay, it's being chaired. Okay, they're bringing in Ronald Moultrie, capital Moultre. He is the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. And they're also bringing in Scott Bray, Bray, Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence. How much are we paying these guys to do their work, and then they get brought into this House committee to testify? Excuse me. Okay. Okay, enough of the UFOs. Just pay it no mind. Sip time. Okay, good news. Mesa, Colorado, Mesa County in Colorado, their county clerk, Tina Peters, and her deputy, Belinda Knisley, that's capital Knisley, were busted for tampering with election machines. They're both dyed-in-the-wool Trumpers, of course, members of the cult of the orange sociopathic bloat bag. Peters is now running for Secretary of State. Like I said before, if she gets elected and is charged with counting election votes, we are doomed, or at least that county, not that county, the whole state of Colorado is doomed. Please, Democrats, get out and vote against her. Okay, Tina Peters is challenging the incumbent, Jenna Griswold. Peters is a zealot follower of the cult of the orange sociopathic bloat bag and a purveyor of the big lie. Okay, this is the good news part of it. On Wednesday, that was yesterday, Mesa County District Judge Valerie Robeson ruled that Peters and Knisley would be banned from overseeing the upcoming elections. Yay! Okay. Big lie believers are running in many states' election offices to overturn democracy. That's their mission in life, is to get the orange sociopathic bloat bag back in office. Okay, bit of bad news. The United States is in the midst of a great gun buying boom. The number of firearms manufactured has tripled since 2000 and spiked in the last 3 years. This is according to the ATF, to an ATF report. ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Jeez, okay. I'm having a brain freeze on what that acronym stands for. Okay, starting in 2009, Glock type semi-automatic handguns purchased for personal protection began outselling rifles. Now, on last week's show, I stated some statistics about the increased danger to women specifically when they're living with a gun owner, meaning a guy that owns guns, or a very increased danger if when she started living with a guy or married the guy and he was not a gun owner, but then he became a gun owner. That spikes up to about a 40% increase. I can't remember the exact number on this. It was an article from the New York Times I was reading. But guns in the house do not make you safer. Do not make you safer. The NRA and the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, all want you to believe that if you have a gun in the house, you can protect yourself against home invasions and intruders, and you'll be safer. You won't be. The statistics bear that out. If you just have to have a gun in your house for, they should be locked up and secured. There should be a law about this. Okay, no Republicans will ever vote for something like that. So all of these organizations like Concerned Mothers for Gun Safety, or I forget the main organization that was created right after the Sandy Hook massacre. But anyway, Mothers for Gun Sense, I think that's the name of it. But anyway, that's what I say about progressives. They organize, they make a nonprofit organization, they solicit funds, and their aims are right, but gun organizations and Republicans just laugh at them. They aren't worried because they know that Republicans will just gum up the works anytime this comes up. I haven't even heard of any attempts to pass gun safety laws or banning AK-47s after this latest gun shooting in Buffalo, New York at that supermarket. I think mass shootings are just a feature of life in America now. As much as I hate to say that, it's just the reality is the NRA and the GOA have the Republican Party by their nuts. And I think that even if the NRA and the GOA was not as powerful as they are, I think Republicans would still vote against all these things. part of the reason that the Republicans kowtow to the gun owners organizations is that they get a lot of money from these people. But it's not just that. Okay. All right. The latest thing here is the Great Replacement Theory, which is white supremacist rhetoric that Democrats, Jews, and elites are trying to replace real Americans, meaning white Protestant European people, with non-white peoples, meaning immigrants, in order that these non-whites will vote with the woke elites, Democrats, and Tucker the Creep, and you know who I mean, on Fox News, is one of the proponents of this Great Replacement Theory, although he'll deny it, of course. Lying is within their DNA. The claim in the Great Replacement Theory, and this dates back to French politics back in the early 1900s, when a right-wing French politician was accusing the lefties in France of encouraging immigration from Algeria and the other French colonies in Africa in order to recruit them to vote for progressive ideas in France. And that idea kind of migrated to the United States. And as Tucker the Creep says, Democrats want the open borders because Latin Americans, especially the immigrants, will be obedient voters. And boy, is that the pot calling the kettle beige. Obedient voters. Check out the MAGA heads that attend the Orange Sociopathic Bloat Bags rallies. You know, talk about obedient voters. Jeez. Okay, and they always use the word they. They want. Who they really mean is progressives, liberals, Democrats, lefties, elites, East Coast people, California people, and Nancy Pelosi. That's who they mean when they say they want to replace you. Okay. Some more good news. Okay, got to do a time check here. Okay. Real good news, very good news. U.S. women's soccer is now in parity in pay with men's soccer as of yesterday. Okay, U.S. Soccer, which is the governing organization, will become the first federation in the world to equalize pay and prize money. FIFA is the world sponsor of both men and women's soccer, and they put on the World Cup every year. Not every 4 years, sorry. And okay, the way this is going to work in the United States is all the prize money and monies awarded to the U.S. soccer by FIFA is going to be put in a common pot and divided up equally between the women's and men's teams. Yay. All right. And then also in the United States here, uh, both men's and women's soccer teams are going to have access to paid child care, parental leave, short-term disability, mental health services, and equal sport venues, meaning, if one team gets grass, the other gets grass, etc., 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 and weight rooms. That's all going to be equal from now on. And a lot of this, in fact, I think probably all of it, is a result of the March 2019 lawsuit brought by women's soccer players against the U.S. The U.S. Soccer Federation. Anyway, it's gone through the courts, and rather than continuing to fight this, U.S. Soccer Federation just came down with this ruling that from now on, pay, prize money, facilities, blah, 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 are all going to be equal from now on. So, yay, booyah. Okay. And this is a bit of bad news. The Pennsylvania governor's race. The Midnight Skeptic is endorsing Josh Shapiro. All right, capital Shapiro. His GOP opponent, Doug Mastriano, isn't just somebody I disagree with. He is a dangerous guy. You ought to listen to some of the things that this turd says. And he's not making a secret of his views. And he, on the last Tuesday's elections, he beat out two other candidates to run for the governorship of Pennsylvania. But I'm saying that he's a danger, and he's a typical MAGA head Republican, proponent of the big lie. Okay. Anyway, his name is Doug Mastriano, is a dangerous ultra MAGA head. He's a proponent of the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, that the January 6th insurrection should have succeeded. He had a hand in that. He organized busloads of protesters to the Capitol on January 5th and 6th. And he marched with them. I don't know for sure whether he actually went into the Capitol or not. I don't know that. But he was there. He believes that abortion should be outlawed with no exceptions. Mail-in voting should be done away with. Teachers should not mention gender identity or gay issues, etc., etc., etc. In other words, he's a typical modern Republican, hate-filled, fear-filled jerk. Those are the types of Republicans. Well, okay, let me take that back. All Republicans should be voted out of office, and then let them start a brand new party from scratch. And if they really believe in some of the classic economic beliefs that real Republicans and conservatives believed in back in the 50s and 60s, Republicans classic. Okay, they used to be an honorable political party that you could have a debate with. Not so anymore. Okay. In other words, this guy is a good Republican filled with fear and hate, masquerading as a patriot, America-loving Christian. Okay. Whew. More good news. Good news. Senator Cynthia Lummis, capital Lummis, a Republican from Wyoming, was booed and told to get off the stage by students. And this is at the University of Wyoming graduation exercise. I mean, she was one of the speakers up there. And what they were booing her for is she was spouting anti-LGBTQ rhetoric during a graduation speech that she was making. And University of Wyoming, incidentally, is Matthew Shepard's alma mater. Now, Matthew Shepard was that kid who was beaten up by a couple of Wyoming yahoos who, if there were MAGA heads back then, they would have been MAGA heads. And I don't know how many years ago this was. I think about 20 or 25 years ago. Anyway, they beat him severely, tied him to a fence post, and just left him out there to die slowly because he was gay. And anyway, he was a student at University of Wyoming. Okay, Lummis is a first-term Republican senator from deep red Wyoming, and she said that human rights are derived from God, but that the government wants to redefine many of them, meaning human rights. Okay, and this is a quote. Even fundamental scientific truths, such as the existence of two sexes, male and female, are subject to change these days. She thought she was making a kind of a little sly joke, but she set off a chorus of boos, and some students shouted at her to get off the stage. Here, here. I'll tell you, if progressives, liberals, and Democrats can gin up the enthusiasm amongst the young people, we'll win easily, because the upcoming generation, the 18 to 25s, if we can get them registered and into the voting booths, humanistic ideas and progressive values will win the day. Young people, those of you who happen to be listening to me ranting here, please get out and vote and register. I realize that amongst your cohort, there probably are some MAGA heads out there that lack enlightenment, but most of you, the demographic trend is for younger people to be enlightened, progressive, liberal, caring about your fellow man, not hating the LGBTQ community. We need you people now more than ever. Okay. News brief from today. I just heard it. Okay, there's this creep called Aaron Jonathan Hurley. He's the head of some anti-abortion group here in San Francisco. And I don't know what the name of the group is. I just heard this news break. But he's been arrested for leading a group of his followers into San Francisco General Hospital and damaging a piece of artwork by splashing fake blood on it and putting stickers on it that says, "There's a killer loose in your neighborhood." This one doctor does provide abortions there in SF General, and they even picketed his house and I assume threatened his family. Okay, well, the protesters out in front of the houses of Susan Collins up in Maine, and the three justices, Kavanaugh and these brain freezes. The justice that wrote the overturning Roe v. Wade memo, their houses are getting picketed, and but I have not heard of any destruction in front of their houses or actual threats to their families. And I wish it will stay that way. But creeps like this Aaron Jonathan Hurley, he's, like I say, he's been arrested, and I don't know what they're going to charge him with. Vandalism at the very minimum. But some of his followers went with him into San Francisco General, and some of his followers are picketing in front of this doctor's house that I don't know this doctor. This is just very recent, like today. Okay. Pro-life zealots have committed 185 arson incidents, 42 bombings, 100 butyric acid attacks. Now, I'm not familiar with butyric acid. It doesn't sound like something you would want to get splashed on yourself. Okay. 26 attempted murders and 11 actual murders completed by pro-life zealots. And they are not pro-life. They're pro-blastocysts. And a blastocyst is this little ball of fetal cells that have not differentiated yet. They value that more than actual people. Just like Republicans, as soon as you're, a developing fetus, to them, you have more rights than a person does after they get born. Republicans vote against expanded child care, food stamps, parental leave, all of those types of things which are pro-family, which they claim to be. They always vote against them, always, in favor of tax cuts for corporations. And tax cuts for the uber wealthy. And it's a bit heartening that Jeff Bezos is having a hissy fit at Joe Biden's expense, because Joe Biden dares to extol the virtues of union organizing at the Amazon warehouses. And also Elon Musk is saying that he's voting for Republicans from now on. He used to be a Democrat. Maybe, maybe not. That's what he says now. So, and the beat goes on. I'm in total riff mode now because my notes have run out. For those of you who want my view on how life should be, and most of you should want that, okay, I envision a government that strives to make life better for the citizens of this country. Okay, how would life be better? Um, a living wage mandated by law for everybody, meaning a minimum wage that's, I don't know what would be considered a living wage, and it varies across the country. I understand that. A living wage here in the San Francisco Bay Area, Jesus, I don't know, would be $25 to $30 an hour. I don't know. And in Mississippi or Alabama, a living wage might be $15 or $16 an hour. I don't know. I'm not a economist enough to figure that out. But a living wage for everybody, health and safety at workplaces mandated. If OSHA, Occupational Health and Safety Organization, would really have some teeth behind it to enforce workplace safety, and parental leave. And I'm not sure about European countries in this regard, but they have, I think, at least the Nordic countries have about a year for both men and women. Parental leave when they have a kid. I don't know whether that's workable, but at least 6 months for both, male and female, mothers and fathers. Food stamps for those who really need them. And Republicans will say that nobody really needs a handout like that. Let them get out and get a third and fourth job. A recognition that some kids are a little bit different from other kids in that their identities, gender and sexuality are in flux, and they are not sure about who they are yet. And give them every possible help that they might need to figure it out, or if they are identifying as the opposite gender from the sex they were assigned at birth, help them, and in whatever way they need. And people who are sexually attracted to people of the opposite sex or gender that they are, there's nothing wrong with that. Just we don't need Republican bullies in this country. So if we can just let people believe what they want to believe and identify as who they want to identify with, that's fine. That's the kind and accepting country that I would like to live in. And we'll never get there if Republicans have any power at all in this country. So please, please, please vote them all out this coming November. It's 54. I'm going to play my out music right now. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. Okay, that does it for another Midnight Skeptic show. I almost didn't get this one up and going because I had microphone problems, and I had to call my audio engineer, Dennis, and have him walk me through how to fix the problem, which we did. And so thank you, Dennis. And I know that he's very busy with his IT job down at Miller Creek Middle School. So, but anyway, thank you for taking the time to help me after you get off work. So now this is ready to go. I got to download it, and it's ready to download to KPCA and then onto Facebook. So until next week, so long, everybody. Think rationally, think logically, think scientifically, but pet your cats.